So let's take a deeper dive into the Salmon River. Right here we have, the Great Lakes coming into the Salmon River. This is upstate New York, Pulaski. I live in Pennsylvania, about 4.5 hour trek to Pulaski along, 476 Northeast Extension to 81. It's a straight shot. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the Salmon River, how I read the river. I'm going to be talking more so about the DSR section and why it's a great place to fish. It's a pay to fish area, so it's private property. You pay for a day pass. They also have seasonal passes, annual passes, and guide passes. But for the money, I definitely think it's worth it, especially with the amount of time that I have to fish this. 3 to 4 days out of the year, I come up to the Salmon River to fish. I've been doing it for over 25 years. And, just to be able to get into that lower section of the river, not heavily pressured by too many people. They do have a limit of people every day, but I think during the peak seasons, like 250 people, plus your guides and your annual pass holders. Plenty of water to fish, so it's not really crowded. Tons of holes, great spots to fish. But what I like is, getting that fresh bite out of the lake as they come in the estuary and get into the private property of the DSR. So I'm going to be talking about this section, how I read the water. And, this pretty much applies to most of the river, and not just the Salmon River itself, but a lot of rivers. My son and I go fishing a lot at different rivers, Susquehanna, Brandywine, Schuylkill, Lehigh, and, just trying to figure out, where to fish, how to fish it. A lot of this water, during the later in the season, drift boats come through. But during the early part of the season, when the water is low, the drift boats will tend to stay up, where they could get access on top of the river, up top. But a lot of them will come in through. They'll either come in with their client's wet wade, or they'll come through. There's a boat launch down here, and they'll come up with their motors on their drift boats and come in here and fish and take their clients. But let's start off with the visitor center, where you check in, park in here, come in early. They have release times for different pass holders. You could either, when they release you could go upstream, take this path here. There's a staircase, and a bunch of good water on the map. Let's see. Property map that you can find on the DSR website will list out the popular holes where you can fish, in the names if you download the map here. But you ever hear that saying about 90-10? It's really big in hunting, where they say 90% of the deer are going to hold in 10% of the property, and that holds true to fishing the Salmon River, or pretty much any place you fish. 90% of the fish are going to hold in certain areas. 10% are going to flow through, different areas of the river. So this gravel where their bellies are going to rub, they could hold in those little spots. But so just some advice when fishing the Salmon River or any other fishing spot, you have these, popular holes. Yeah, they're great to fish. 90% of the fish will hold in these spots as they move up. But what I've learned is that finding those other 10%, places where fish can hold and move through will also prove to get success in your fishing. A lot of time you'll find those fish to be unpressured and easier to catch. So for this video, I'm not going to talk so much upriver. Great spots, staircase, and then you have the black hole. Yeah, but I'll be talking about the lower section, which I've been fishing a lot this past 10 years. But you'll actually get released here. There's a trail that comes through. There's a staircase that comes down here. And from here, you could either go, there's a couple trails that come out and you can fish this water. What I tend to look for, this is all good water, but what I tend to look for is those deeper, darker pockets. Some of this you have to go and actually see to see if it's actually dead water or if it's faster water moving around dead water. These deeper holes, and there's like cover behind it or in front of it where the fish can hold. Those are those areas you want to look for. So what I like going about it early season is a lot of times the water's low and you can see these places where fish can hold. And when you do go back and there's a lot more water, you'll know to try for these spots. But like I said, trail that comes out, a couple trails out here. But if not, there's a cutoff as you just come off the staircase and you come across here. Very first hole, very, very popular hole, Josh hole. You see a lot of videos on YouTube about this hole. There's a video a while back where like this hole was literally just blackened with fish. I was happened to be there that year, and I actually did not fish this hole at that time. I had a lot more success everywhere else. Just because there's a lot of fish doesn't make it's easier. It especially the way that I've learned to fish. I tend to find out that when there's too many fish, it could promote accidental snags. So that's what I want to stay away from. Plus it gets overcrowded with people. But this section right here, you see a lot of people posting videos on this section and this section. Very popular. If you're lucky to get this spot, kudos to you. But 9 times out of 10, it's either a guide or season or annual pass holder that's got there first and just marks that spot. There's a ledge right here where you could just drop your line straight down and just swing your rod across. That's the only technique. And if you have it the right level, the fish, it's going to bump their nose and they're going to bite. And literally you can catch fish after fish after fish after fish. So if you're lucky to get that spot, I was fortunate, a few times that actually nobody was there and I got that spot and then a big run came through. But I've also learned to fish this with my friends, that we found out that this spot is also good. If you fish it from this side, there's actually little pockets right in here as it starts to hit this is upward trend where it goes up and it's a lot of white water. Great, easiest place to cross is right here. But right here, fish will hold there for a second and then you could actually pick out fish out of this hole. If you get across here, this is a good spot. There's a technique where you have to like get it in there under that ledge to fish it. Might have to use a little weight too to get in there, but you can catch fish right here. You can also catch it right here. It's a great spot, great place to visually see the fish. You can see it more over here than over here, but this is the prime spot of this whole hole. Everybody that fishes it knows it. If you disagree, let me know. But yes, you can catch fish over here and over here along this ledge right here. Good. But yeah, you could sight fish for fish right here. Great place. A lot of fish run back to here where you can land it. So that's good there. So right here, the trail comes across. You can actually look over during the day and see down in there and see what's in there. So that's good to look at. Yeah, but as you come across here, you come up and there's a trail and it leads to this cornfield. You have to walk up and then you come across this trail, this cornfield. There's a pathway down here. You can fish this section right here. Just look for the darker water. Not really that much movement in this section. This is kind of deceiving. Looks dark, but it's like actually just, there's not much rock in there. It's low water. But you come down this trail, And one of the first spots I like to talk about that I really love to fish, but I don't fish anymore. And the reason why I use Google Earth is this feeder stream right here. You'll see it all along the Salmon River, plus all the other feeder creeks that lead onto Lake Ontario. I fished this many and many times with no one on it, and you see those videos like, oh, you're fishing this feeder stream so low water, it's part of the Salmon River. You just have to find them, and this is one of them. Fish move up here from all the way down here as they enter the first part of the DSR. They get trapped up in here and move up. But the reason why I don't fish it anymore is because was it last year? I walked all the way down this, or was it 2 years ago? I walked all the way down this, and this was here. A dam to prevent the fish from coming up. I'm not sure if the DSR put that in there. I know they do a lot of stream improvements, but I think it was more of a safety issue of people coming down here. I'm not sure if it's part of their property, but it's pretty far off from the main trail. And to get caught in here, if something wrong happens and you don't have a phone, you're stuck. Unless somebody comes across you. But like I said, coming through here, I have fished it a lot, caught a lot of fish down here, and but haven't seen anybody. But you come down off the cornfield, all this trail, cut across this shallow waterway, coming through here. This is a okay place to cross. A lot of people fish here. It's like where you could sight fish for salmon in low water, and if you're into that technique of lining, which I've done before, trying to get it close to the bait, to their mouth, this is a good spot, but not really much of a holding spot. They'll run through. This is good for holding. There's little deep pockets in there. This is a good section through here. Through here, you'll see a lot of people fish this. A lot of YouTube videos on this section right here. Here. This is a great spot, deep hole. But all along here, what I've noticed is that these main holes, there's little pockets where fish rest. 1 or 2 fish. If you get on them, that will make a difference. Fishing, 20, 30, 40, 50 fish in here, and maybe getting a couple bites, or they're not biting at all, trying to fish that all day, and then you move to like a smaller pocket where there's 1 or 2 fish. That could make a day. So you come along this trail, come out to here. This is really, if I wanted to cross, this is where I would do it. Easy, low water to get on this trail, especially if you want to fish this side. And Google Maps, I look at it just to see if there's any changes. Big change. This usually is exposed around this time, but heavy water will run through. You can start to see some growth right here, but that's dried out. Fish have run up here. This is all dead water right here. Occasionally, like I said, you'll have that fish that come through. Pods of fish will get mixed up and come through here. But here's another reason why I use Google Earth. So you could see the gravel bars, the changes, where they could stack up in these darker, deeper spots. But before, years and years ago, 10, 15 years ago, this used to be a channel, here. Like I said, the DSR makes stream improvements, so they filled a lot of this in, made it a little bit easier access to, fish from. They created this deep pool, and if you look, this one channel right here is pretty dark. Fish hold up. But if you look at this, here's the estuary. Here's route, I forget, 29, 39, I don't know. 29 bridge. Come out of here. The salmon will mingle around. This is really where their bellies first hit gravel. So they're just hitting it, come back, hitting it, come back, hitting it, and then eventually they're just going to say, I'm coming up. If it's deeper water, they'll come up. But here, right here, this is a stream improvement where they created a bank. They added these, tree bases that stick out, and it creates these swirl pools, right? And the fish just come in here in this deeper pocket and hold. One of my favorite spots is fishing this bank right here, up in here. And the reason being is there's a whirlpool that happens right around here. And the fish just tend to relax right in there. They come through this gravel, and if they're ready, they'll run. If not, they'll hold. But this is where I learned a technique where, there's different techniques out there, trying to get fish to bite, putting a little bit more weight, less weight on the line, more on the hook, to get it, better presentations, swinging that bait, But this advantage point that I've learned is that when I cast it out and swing it, I let it flutter in front of them. Bigger the better, egg sucking leeches, minnow imitations. But anything that's big, black, dark, it's going to get down. Purples, blues, to get it in there, have it flutter. If there's fish in there, you'll experience a bite like something like if you're trolling where they're actually gumming up to it and biting it versus you trying to get it in their mouth and have them bite when it touches their nose or something, or the line crosses their path and you swing it through their mouth. This is like you're there, you're drifting it, you're holding it, and it's like they're pulling it away from you. They're grabbing it and pulling away from you. Most exciting thing, I'll post videos. If I have extra time in this video to post it in, I'll include it in this video. But if not, I'll put it in part 2. But I'll post a video on that, catching fish here. The tricky part is trying to land it. Luckily, if the fish does go up, you can land it up here in this lower water along here. And then if not, if you're lucky enough, you can land it here, which I've done before. But the real task is if it goes downstream, just trying to get it over these tree stumps without getting your line cut or tangled up. I've almost had a rod break down here, but getting it through here and then landing it down here. I've also have walked it across. This is a good spot to walk across. You can land it over here. A lot of people fish this flat section right here. They'll stand on this gravel and fish this pool. But one thing to pay attention to, I have lost footing here before and actually got swept in this pool. And the video that I'll show you, it's like a whirlpool. I call it the whirlpool. I'm not sure if it has a name, but it actually will spin you around and dig you deep. And if your waders get filled up, you're in trouble. Luckily for me, for that day, it was a warm day, so I was able to get out of there, strip, and then fish for the rest of the day. But there's a love-hate relationship with this pool, but most definitely I'll be going back to fish it. Just fish it with a different perspective, if that makes any sense. A lot of people fish along here. This is actually where I caught my first salmon in this DSR section. I actually had a guide, me and my buddy. If anything, if you're new to the Salmon River, I recommend getting a guide. Early season, try to get on the DSR. Later season, when the water level's high, or anytime when it's high, get a guide to have you float you down the river, show you where all the great spots are, and properly how to fish for these fish. So, like I said, the guides will come up here. They'll fish this section. They move from spot to spot each year. You can see the darker spot areas where the fish will hold, right? This is a great spot. Fish will hold here for a second, move out. But just being able to look at the Google Earth and seeing, how the things have changed helps out a lot. This section last year I learned is a great section. See that black line right there? Black. This is actually really low when it's running like 335. And the salmon, they'll just boil up in here. And when they're ready, they'll come up in here. And just like that technique I talked about before on the whirlpool pool, just being able to have it sink and float in the column. And the fish, they're just so when it gets stacked up, they're dominant. They're trying to hold position, and they're aggressive, and anything in their way, they're just biting at. And it's an experience no other. Fish will come through here. You'll see sometimes the fish will come through here, but you could see these darker transitions. That's where the fish are going to move through most of the time. Yes, you do have your fish that move through anywhere, but most of the time the herd, the pod will come through on this darker pathway, and that's how I tend to read it. But yeah, like I said, first gravel, their bellies hitting it, moving back and forth, and then eventually they're going to make their run. They may come up here, come back, go all the way up, but you want to look for those holding spots. If they're empty, fish them. If they're not holding anything, move on. If they're being pressured, move on. Find those other smaller pockets where you'll find one or two fish and work it. Yeah. But hopefully, I'm not sure how long this video is, but hopefully if it's not too long, I'm going to include the actual videos of these spots in it. But if not, it'll be in part 2. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be posting it on my son's YouTube channel. He's relatively new to the channel, creating YouTube videos. He's already had a great following. A lot of people are watching his videos. So if you happen to, watch this video, spend some time. If you like this content, it's pretty much the same. He loves fishing. Unfortunately, I think he's too small to come to the Salmon River maybe next year, but he wants to go someday, so hopefully we can make it happen. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like this video, please watch my son's videos. If you like that content, make sure to smash a like and also subscribe for other videos. I'm going to be posting videos of my trip, which is going to be the 16th through the 20th. Hopefully I'll be able to do some live feeds of, conditions, and hopefully the conditions are right, the salmon are moving, and I get on some fish, and I'm able to provide some content for you guys and gals. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully, whether you're new or a returning visitor, fisherman to the Salmon River, I hope you have success. I hope this helped out a lot. But if you have any questions, be sure to put them in the comments. If there's anything you think I said wrong, put them in the comments too, because I'm always learning. Even though I've been fishing this for a while, it took me a while to learn it. And I think the more information that we could spread to help other people fish will make it very enjoyable for everybody. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and until next week when I go fishing, hopefully it'll be a good one. I'll talk to you.